Welcome everyone. This is STRAT Chat. If you haven't been here before, if you have been here before, welcome back. Basically, we're just going to be talking today about Torbjorn, his place in possible meta, if he's going to be meta, and all that kind of stuff. Played a little bit of him, not a lot. But yeah, I'll go through of ways to actually play him and ways to play him moving forward. Let's cut the music out. Let's cut it out. Let's cut it. Gone. Bye. Good riddance. All that kind of good stuff. That should be louder now. Let me adjust this. Yeah. So yeah, if you're on Twitch, I do post these on YouTube after. And if you're on YouTube watching these after, I do live stream these every Friday at 5:30. Granted, my life's kind of been insane, so I can't guarantee that it's going to be every week. But to keep up to date, I do post updates on if I'm doing a live stream, basically, on Twitter. So it's Dryden001, but instead of an E, it's just a 3. So, that and there's links pretty much anywhere. You look anywhere on this and you get links. So, trying to shoot through my OBS screen to see if I can do anything. It's kind of entertaining. Yeah, so stuff with Torbjorn, let's go ahead and cover changes that has happened to him. Projectile speed's been increased, which is nice. You can hit your shots more often. Granted, the hitbox is kind of awkward. It's really easy to graze right past someone, and that's one issue. It's basically, I believe it's I think it's like a slightly faster firing Honda. Yeah, slightly faster firing Hanzo, but it does less damage, which is kind of a bummer. Basically, a good way to kind of think about the new Torbjorn is he's Hanzo. They increase the fire rate on his shotgun, his right click, decrease the damage, of course. No armor packs, but now a throwable turret that will bounce off of walls and all that stuff. And after it's built, so it takes like 3 seconds to build, you can press your interact key to cancel it and actually destroy it. Otherwise, it'll stay there the entire time. And then if it's in combat or if it's still building when you cancel it, it's a 10-second cooldown. If it's out of combat or not taking damage, it will go on a 4-second cooldown. So let me see if I can... Also, I'll show you it bouncing off a wall. See, boom. So you see 4-second cooldown, dun dun. And then I interact. Yeah, it's a 5-second cooldown. My bad. But yeah, so that decreases, and then let me throw it in a place where it gets a lot of traction. We'll get back to it later. Interact key, yeah, now it's a 10-second cooldown because of shooting or getting shot. Those are the trade-offs. The turret has 50 less health from its regular tier 2 form. All the other tiers have disappeared. You now only have the tier 2. So that's one thing to remember. Besides that, we have his next ability, which is basically his Storm Arrow equivalent. Basically, it is Molten Core. You get 150 extra armor, your movement speed increases, your hammer speed increases, your fire rate increases, and your reload rate increases. So you can do stuff like this. So yeah, it lasts for a short amount of time, and yeah. Also, that's a pretty awesome land. That's actually a skill shot to land Torbjorn's turret in a different spot than where he's at and where you want to. So throwing it on the high ground ledges and you could possibly overthrow. But yeah, it's basically, it lasts for the time, and after this goes up, it goes on a 12-second cooldown. So it doesn't start as you hit it. It's after the time has passed, that his right click, well, his E will go back to where it was. But yeah, headshots apply like regular. It's still difficult to hit his left click, but it's not as bad as it was. Now it's actually more workable. It's like it's harder than Hanzo's arrow to hit, so that's a big problem actually already. Is it is more difficult to hit than Hanzo, just because the hitbox. But yeah, that's pretty basic. Turret will stay there indefinitely, and then ult. His ult is probably the only reason why he will be viable in the long run, and it's because of this. So you have 10 shots to shoot, and you can put it anywhere. It does, I believe, like 100. I can't remember exactly, but it does like I think 130 damage, and it does 150 damage to people with armor. And it doesn't stack, so you can't put it all down into one spot. So that's an issue. Yeah, you can see like I can barely glaze over their head and it will just not hit. And these guys have generous hitboxes. So if I pile, let me actually show you. If I pile all the blobs into one spot as opposed to having it in two, so see, it doesn't scale faster. This guy would have died first if they stack on top of each other. So those blobs don't stack, and that'll actually be a very key deal in the future. And you do get ult charge right after you've thrown out all the blobs. A blob lasts for 10 seconds. They last for 10 seconds after they've been deployed. So they technically last, the last one you shoot is the last one to despawn. We can actually see that. So that one should despawn first, and then these should despawn later. From what I've heard, yeah, see? And then these despawn then. So yeah, it takes that time to despawn, which is all cool and stuff like that. Get ult charge. Oh, sorry. You get ult charge from your turret, which is nice. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics of Torbjorn. And now to get into some actual strategy behind it. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. If you're on YouTube, put it on YouTube. If you're pretty much anywhere else, put it anywhere else. I don't care. Let's go in. I want Roadhog, disable, disable, disable. Disable, disable. Okay. And maps. Let's just go to a random map. Let's have fun. Go to a random map. I think it's going to be Route 66. Yeah. So this is pretty decent to actually cover. Okay. So some things to keep in mind with Torbjorn is his mobility is trash. And likewise, he has no mobility. So that's something to keep a big lookout on when you're actually creating comps with him, is that he's just not mobile. It's not going to happen. The only way that's going to happen is if he's assisted, like with a Lucio or whatever. But besides that, not going to happen. Forgot. I need to add an AI to the other team. Roadhog. Just so that I can get ult charge and go through some stuff with him. Ah. Oh. Missing every shot. You burn through damage though, and you can get your ult pretty fast. Play the game. There we go. So let's try to get this into a decent position. So one thing to actually remember is that you can throw the turret. So at the beginning of the match, what you're going to want to do on defense especially, I found that Torbjorn still works better on defense. Defensively, you're going to want to put it in an interesting position so that you get ult charge at the beginning of the match. So like for this map, what you'd want to do, toss it there, and as they round the corner, they get shot at. So, pretty nice. So, you can do that, get ult charge, they have to commit resources to it, or whatever. That's one strategy to go into it. There's, of course, other strategies. Basically, your turret placement at the beginning of the match is really crucial. You do want to place that before in an aggressive position or in a position where it's just going to die immediately. Basically, pick where you want, but know that you kind of have to delay for 10 seconds before it comes back, because if they kill it, it's killed in action and you can't really work around it. Thanks guys for following me. Yeah, so like picking another position for a turret, there's different ways in which you can put a turret up, and the most commonly used way is the aggressive DPS turret, where basically you set it up in the front line behind maybe like a shield, and it does damage. Now that's not really viable. You don't want to actually be doing a ton of damage with it. It's great to do damage with it, but what you want to do is you want it to cut off an area. So you're an aerial denial hero. Get out of the sky. You're an area denial hero, and so what you want to do is you want to set up line of sight in which people can't get through without getting shot. So like if you put it there, you cut off this bottom road and anything under here. So that's pretty nice. Another way to go about it is you can throw it over there, and so you know when it goes off, someone's around that corner, and you kind of can find out stuff. It's like a sonar arrow. It's like, for example, if I threw it, hey, follow me. No, they're not gonna follow me. Okay, so let's say like I threw my turret here at the beginning of the match. It's there like middle of the match, whatever. If I see that turret go off, I know that someone is either see, so I know right now that there is a roadhog that was either going in the right direction or got peeked through the window. So I know, I can hear it, and I can also see right there that he can see people walking past that point. So I automatically have like a tripwire there. If the turret dies, I know they're trying to make a push over here, because the only reason why they're going to kill a turret is so that they can rotate around, especially someone who knows how Torbjorn works. If they kill a turret, that resets and makes it so that I can move it to a different spot. If it's in a spot that won't bother them, they won't kill it. So if they kill it, it's in a spot in which it'll bother them. So let's say this turret died. Then logically, if the team knows what they're doing and not just shooting it to just shoot it, they are committing resources to go this way, and you can guarantee that someone's going to be underneath here, possibly rotating underneath. So that's one way to take about it. Another way is to slow down the back line. So let's set up the turret right here. So this is actually a really good spot. Let's say we're the other team, and well, let's say we're defense. We put our turret there, and we're defending on the high ground here. I want to put that turret there for a couple reasons. One, It can shoot across here. Granted, it has line of sight break a little bit. But the biggest thing is that if the enemy team comes up this way, that turret picks them up. If anyone's flanking, that turret picks them up. If it's a tracer, the tracer has to dedicate many blinks to get in order to actually get a kill. If they're flanking underneath here, they immediately get shot by peeking this corner. And if you're constantly moving your turret around and putting it in interesting positions, then you'll always catch them off guard. Another good place to put them is basically like right here, so like right there. That's good because it's out of line of sight of this wall, but at the same time it's line of sight of the back. So you're protecting it to the front line, but you're exposing it to back line, basically flankers, and so it will allow you to get more value out of them coming around the backside. So that's a good way. I kind of like that idea. A thing to notice is there is a trade-off because, yes, it does counter tracer by doing this, but at the same time, the tracer can one-clip you super easily. A gold tracer can one-clip you. A silver tracer can one-clip you. Basically, if they're aiming in your general direction, your hitbox is the size of Vermont, which is still pretty big, but a bit short. Easy to hit, though. So yeah, that's some things to take into account. But the main reasons why you'd be running, the reasons why you would be running a Torb is either for backline control, where this is protecting, or this, your E ability. There we go. So your E ability will shred through tanks. Pretty fast. So it's basically your Storm Arrow equivalent, which, if you don't know about Storm Arrow, is pretty nice. You can do a ton of damage all at once. And so it's a type of damage where basically they have to respect you. They have to respect the damage when you put it out, and you have more sustain when you're doing it. Yeah. And you can always continue shooting afterwards. It just increases your rate of fire, so I wonder. Yeah, you can't. I actually wonder if that is an animation cancel. I'll cover that once a thing comes back on cooldown. No questions. Okay, so let's see. I love how that one was just like, yeah, let me get him. Okay, so let's... It is! Okay. Ah. So yeah, doing that as an animation cancel is actually pretty nice. Didn't know that. You still have an animation before you can actually fire again, but you don't have this delay in between anymore. So you kind of can get that free shot without a delay. So let me see. Ultimate. So the reason why I said the ultimate's really good, and let me go ahead and demonstrate. That's why. That is why the ult's good. Is because it covers everything you want it to. And that's why I like it. And basically why a lot of teams would basically, if they ran him, would kind of want to run him for his ult. Because the ult's just so nice. It is better than Hammond's ult, because shields can't block it once it's down, and it can't get EMP'd once it's down as well. Also, your ult comes back super fast, which is nice. Let's see if I can get a proper cutoff. Ah, nope, missed it. It is a skill to kind of... It is really a skill to actually get that to cover. You can't animation cancel with your turret, even though I want to. Let's see if you can... Yeah, you can animation cancel that. Oh, barely missed that one. It's difficult landing those exactly right. Okay. So what else? What else? Map dependent strategies. Basically, use... Ooh, yeah. Okay, one thing that I forgot, and it's a theory. So some people say it's that he will counter specific comps, which is an interesting idea. One thing that has been tossed around is he counters dive. Yeah, he does. One thing that people do forget... No, I don't want it there. I messed up. Okay. So, an idea that people have is that you get 150 armor, as you can see down below bottom left, for a certain amount of time, and you can survive through a dive. Yeah, I guess you can. Granted, with burst damage, it's not really gonna do that much. If a team knows what they're doing, they'll still pick you as a dive target, depending on what's being played. Because there's a lot of characters that can't be dove, that just don't take damage in a dive. So, like Moira just leaves. Lucio just leaves or heals. Moira heals. Getting extra armor is not really going to do that. You can't really stun people coming in. One thing that is good is just being able to do this. Boom, 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 boom. And just like shell into them. That's nice to have. One thing that I do like, and it's kind of weird, is you've seen the turret as a body blocker. It's actually pretty nice. So fun fact is that the turret will take all the damage through here. And so you get your own 250 hit point shield. Torbjorn, you're freaking out. That's weird. I wonder if I can... Yeah, okay. So Torbjorn's hands being a little funky, known bug. I'll just remove that. So yeah, you can hide behind the turret, and the turret will take the brunt of the damage, which is a plus and a minus is, well, your turret will disappear. But the bonus is you won't disappear. And so an idea is against a dive comp, you will use the turret as the forced dive. So if you force them to dive, so like let's say they jump to the high ground and they have that turret in the way, Doomfist will punch and he won't go through the turret. He will boom hit the turret. And if a Hammond tries to roll in, boom, he hits the turret. And so mobility that does damage or whatever well, not really even does damage, but basically linear mobility will get stopped here, which is nice. So you can use that to your advantage. And speaking of linear mobility, let's say the enemy team's running goats. So they run around here, and they curl up underneath, they roll up to the high ground, they come over here, and this turret's in their way. Now, they don't really have much range damage to really kill the turret that well. They can still do it regardless. But it's something stuck in their way that they have to commit resources to. And so they get here, and they have to either go past it and hope it doesn't do anything, or they try to commit on it. And if you have it really close to your team, you could possibly get them to get the turret to absorb the shield bash and or Reinhardt charge or stuff like that. So just absorbing abilities is really nice. And so I think that's something that teams will use, is just getting that down, just absorbing abilities overall. I think that would be something that teams would want. Viability-wise, I see it being used. I honestly do. Of like a team's having problems against goats. And so they play this comp. I'm getting ult charge. I don't want to freak out the camera with this gun. 3% ult charge on that. Or that's a bit better. I know some people are trying to use his ult and throw it on Grav. You can do that. It's nice, but make sure that you're spreading out your ult. You don't want it all in the same spot, so learn to feather it. So boom, 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 boom. So yeah, feather it out so that you're not getting everything in at once. Because if you just throw a blob on the ground, you actually decrease your effectiveness, which you don't want to do. You want to actually increase your effectiveness. So why would you do anything else? Thoughts? Let's switch maps. Numbani. Numbani was used a lot, so we'll talk about what he can do now. I think fitting into a DPS role, I don't know. And that's the problem, is I don't think he's at a place right now in which you can actually fit him into a DPS role at all. Just because his mobility is just not there. And to put it into perspective, in some cases you'd rather have a McCree. Or even a soldier. A soldier can heal his team. In way of countering, I think it can happen. I think it's very viable. Oh, also, by the way, new hero confirmed. That's been there for ages. No one's really looked at that. So Torbjorn strategies. I know there was one where you throw the turret here, and the turret can deal damage if a team dived there, as well as stopping and slowing down a tracer rotation. Because people who know what they're doing, so originally Junkrat was used. Junkrat was used in rotations to counter a tracer. So basically what they would do is they would put a trap down, the tracer would run by, get trapped, and boom, bomb, tracer dies instantly. But if the tracer's aware of possible stuff of that happen, especially with scouting being a thing, teams will scout the movement of a tracer, as well as scout the placement of a trap. So it's something to think about, is a trap can be counterable, the counter to it is just focusing in on it. And one person, like a tracer, would have to commit resources to kill it, and then have to wait for those resources to come back in order to actually dive on something to get value. So basically what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to set possibilities up where the value they get isn't really there. So like they can get value, yeah, completely okay. They can get value by killing that thing because it's gone. But you're using it so that they don't get value on you. So you transfer the value over to something that you are okay with dying. And just because that thing basically is its own character, but you have it on a shorter cooldown of 10 seconds, which is comparably to a to a mercy res, is pretty darn good. You can get 3 of those out there while mercy res still is trying to get up. See? And we automatically knew that that guy was coming around the corner. But, like I said, mobility is just not there. Any other strategies? Let me talk about learning Torbjorn, actually. So, some things to practice on. I think number 1 is, of course, hitting your shots. I still need to work on that. You have to lead the target, but you also have to... Yeah, it's kind of weird. But he feels a lot like Hanzo. Just damage-wise isn't really that good. Yeah, you get out. So yeah, just that whole thing. If you practice Hanzo, you'll be pretty good on him, but you don't have wall climbing, and so that's a difficult thing. You can't get high ground as easily. You have to do a lot of rotation, and if any Ana players know, or Zen players, rotations are very key, because that is considered downtime, which is a bad thing. That being said, I think possible counters to goats, because like if a goats team's coming at you, you just do this. And you just gain your ult charge super fast, and then you toss your ult down on the point or whatever, and you just zone them out, which would work completely okay, completely viable. But yeah, just getting that stuff down. I think after aiming, turret throwing would be another thing. Probably tied with hitting your ult shots. So getting this down. So just getting that control. So yeah, just getting proper placements and all that stuff. Timing things out. Pre-planning where you're throwing your stuff, because remember that the last thing you throw is the last one to despawn. So you could easily, a strategy, let me get my ult. So a strategy you can use. Ah, I messed that one up. Let me get my ult. Let me get my ult back again. So jeez, I suck. But basically, like, having a high profile location. So like, let's say, and then sending your last ones back up to the start. So the idea would be is that you get damage starting out, and then you get the ending damage as well. So it just lasts a bit longer there. That's a strategy. Or even send your ult straight into there. So doing this. So that you can spread that out too. Get them arc time. Wow. Excuse me while I hook up my potato into my mouse.
Time to let off some steam.
Ult's really good though. I think its effect on armor is gonna be a thing, but it's not gonna be like, oh my god, oh no, I wish I didn't have armor, stuff like that. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think it's just gonna be like, oh yeah, it does do more onto armor, but you're not gonna use his ult or him so that he counters tanks that way. His ult does enough damage in which that's not really a factor. I think if it doubled the damage, then yeah. But it's just a small percentage increase. So, pretty basic there. I think I'm going to open it up for questions. I don't have any other things to think about. I'll probably come up with some. But, yeah, you can... I prefer not doing an aggressive turret. So, keeping it out of line of sight, but blocking off areas. Denying area. And that's actually why his ult's really good, is because you can deny multiple areas. So let me... So basically I denied that entrance, that entrance, that entrance. And if they go through it, they have to pay the price of getting hit a lot. So that's nice. Oh, also the turret's AI changed, so it actually prefers the target in which you last shot. If it can choose between targets, it picks that one. He's overpowered in Junkenstein's Revenge. That's one thing to remember. Just because the turret never gets shot, and then every so often, and you charge your ult so fast, and every so often you just cut off the spawn areas. Jeez, I need to get better at that aim. Aiming with Torbjorn's kind of awkward for me. I'm trying to do a weird flick aim. Oh yeah, all projectile too. I don't see any questions. Let's go play a game of quick play. See if we can get Torbjorn. Play Torbjorn. Profit. Not actually profit, but, you know, profit. Play Torbjorn, win Torbjorn, and profit. Turn on music again. Defending too. Oh yeah, offense. Offense is a good thing to cover. So with him, I don't like running him on offense. You want to position his turret behind the enemy team some way. You basically want the turret to be in an awkward position. With the build time on it, if the team is aware of the turret as it's building, it's gone. That's pretty much what happens. That's how it works. You don't get a lot of value out of that. So basically, I'm gonna shoot at the spawn and then rotate to the cafe. Watch turret's dying, and it's dead. There we go. So, in this situation, I want to throw the turret over here so that if they go to the point, I protect the point and I also protect the Zen if the Zen decides to rotate into them. Wow. Blizzard. That's... Wow. Okay, that broke line of sight. I saw it. I saw it, Blizzard. Breaks line of sight. Yeah. So yeah, where the turret is right now.
Time to let off some steam.
Experience tranquility.
I feel great.
Excuse me while I... Yeah. Lost the line of sight. Dang. Wow. I just straight up died. Like, how did I just die that fast? Right. Wow. Yeah, Torbjorn can die fast. Let's do that for flankers.
If you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the
Wow. Oh, right. See? Turret's shooting, getting damage done. Wow. Okay. Guess Iana and the Moira just didn't even want to. Just like, yeah, that Torbjorn, yeah, we're just not gonna follow him. Nope, missed.
No one can hide from my sight. Get into position.
I've died every single time I ult. And I just get one shot every single time. Just like boom, boom, dead. Oh, they're going up high. My turret just swiped immediately. That was just perfect positioning from that guy. It's like, I'm kidding, that's just like complete chance. The problem with Torbjorn as a glass cannon. Yeah, watch, he's just gonna... That's in range? Alright. Okay, that's it for me. Everyone, thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe or whatever to keep up to date there. I do post different things on YouTube. I have a Minecraft series that I'm going to be expanding on. It's just taking a bit for the video. Posting memes and other stuff. A live stream here. Those don't necessarily cross over. And then, of course, all the stuff that I post is all kept up on my Twitter of Dryden001, DRYD3, and 001 because some jerk has Dryden001. But yeah, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Bye.